They're preparing me for my death. Okay. What do we do if the baby has a low APGAR? You are 911. So if the baby's got a heart rate below 60, we're going to ventilate them for 30 seconds and see if the heart rate comes up. If it does not, we need to start CPR. The general accepted standard of care of CPR now is to wrap your hands around the baby, put your thumbs on the sternum at the nipple line, and do compressions. Questions? At the any questions? Let's let their head fall straight back in natural position. Let's ventilate. Tell them not to lift the head up. That's hardest if they want to lift the head up. It's like, no, don't. So it falls back actually looks in line. Okay, most infant, most neonate masks are actually round. So it's just like a round circle you put over. It really works pretty well. And you circle it. What I do is, if I'm doing the airway, I take my middle finger and I circle around the chin. I just press down and press down the chin. And I use my thumb to go to the bridge of the nose. Their faces are tiny. Yeah. So, and I got little bitty hands and I can do that. Yeah. And you want to go real old school? Before we had infant BVNs, I used to put a nasal cannula on myself at 6 liters per minute. And I'd inhale through my nose and I give mouth to the baby face. So that way you're increasing the amount of oxygen you're getting. Yeah. But we don't do that anymore. Disease spread. That's back when we used to have a lot. So, you know, we used to have a lot of SIDS. We used to have like 3 or 4 baby codes a year here. And now, fortunately, it's gone away. We don't have that problem anymore. I think they've improved vetting and education to young moms. Because they were almost all teenage mothers too. Babies like that. Huge link. So let me give home births their due diligence. My opinion of home births is very poor, but as was pointed out to me once by an EMT student that was the daughter of a midwife, I only go to home births that go sideways. So I don't see good home births. I only see bad. So I'm not a fan of home births. Taos? Huh? I don't know that. Well, it's good that you had a home birth then. Yes, sir. Yeah. Half to 3/4 of an inch. Williams and Garza, you guys want to sit up front so we can hear what you're talking about? No? All right.
I'm back.
You saw it. We can hear it. Did you get a good call in?
I did.
How was the one downriver?
It was good.
They live?
Yep, he's alive.
Did he get shot?
Not quite. He was exhausted and he was cold, but not enough to be shot. So he was.
So he wasn't shot with a gun.
Oh no, shot no. So there's gunshots, but it was completely unrelated. Like when we
downriver.
He was canoeing, and then he flipped over in his canoe.
Canoeing.
What a great day to go canoeing.
You lose your hat there too?
Did he have a Donald Duck Halloween costume on?
Mike, that was just unnecessary.
You always have the same hat on.
Oh.
Got a new hat on today.
He was caught in a branch.
Roast him for no
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah, so he's like chilling on this branch for like half an hour.
I know, but you were like, oh, no hat.
So everybody got back Klamath National Bank. Offered him a branch manager position. All right. 3-to-1 ratio. All right, we're gonna get into abnormal deliveries that are a problem. First one's a breech delivery. That's when you check for crowning and you get mooned. Like that. So you have to make a V shape with your fingers, not Star Trek. And you have to stick the V shape in the vagina and create an airway for the baby. Take the pressure off the cord. And you have to stay that way until you get into surgery at the hospital. So that's going to be a C-section, an emergency crash C-section. Limb presentations. I have never seen a limb presentation that ended well. Limb presentations end very, very badly. It's a true emergency. You have to get moved to the hospital. There's nothing you can do. Yeah. You don't put them back in, but you can put them Tredellenberg. Try to use gravity as your friend, take pressure off. But I've never had one that ended well. Yeah. Throw them on the gurney, Tredellenberg, and run. Early notification. This will be on the test. You go to check for crowning, you see a shiny rope. That's a prolapsed cord. That's bad. So again, you stick your two fingers, push the head away, take the pressure off the cord. Baby crushes that cord against the birth canal. It's going to shut off the oxygen to the baby. That's going to end badly. True emergency. So the next one of that is meconium. Oh, did you see that? You did an age resistance, and then it's like that, so we're not going to show you it all. That was a bolt of meconium breech. So meconium is when the baby gets in distress, the baby will literally poop. That'll be a green, black colored poop into the amniotic fluid, which will then get into their airways because that's what they're swimming around in. Yeah. So the more of the first breath they take, they're inhaling shit, literally. And so now you got a baby that's starting life with a massive amount of bacterial infection inside their upper and lower airways, which is really, really bad. So you got to let them know if you see any green or black fluid from mom in the amniotic fluid or around that baby, you have to call the hospital immediately so they can set up for meconium baby, because it's probably going to end up on a ventilator. Any questions? These babies, you suction the hell out of them. You can't get as much of that out of their nose and mouth. Now, field stress syndrome causes it. And there's the meconium. So mom, post-delivery having excessive bleeding. So a couple things can stop that. You can teach mom how to massage the fundus, which would be a knotted up thing of the uterus, or you can have the baby nurse from mom. Those will all release pitocin. Pitocin is a major vasoconstrictor that will also stop the bleeding from vasoconstriction. Do not pack things inside. It's not what we do. Any questions? Don't take quick clot and start feeding. Don't. So spina bifida. Make sure. Do we have somebody have everything? So have you ever seen a photo of a very macho, salty firefighter who's gotten stuck inside of a little tiny compact electric car, and his ex-wife saw him and took a picture of the parking lot, now sending it to all his friends? That's epic. An old salty battalion chief. All right. Oh, yeah, we gotta put this on Facebook. Huh? He was local a long time. Mount Shasta Fire. Went on to become a state of Nevada battalion chief. And then decided he wanted to make money instead of fighting fire, and that works in the mines. All right, spina bifida is a truly unfortunate condition where the spine is born outside the skin. Some kinds can be corrected intra utero, not always. And of course, if there's no prenatal care, we can get caught and we can get corrected. So miscarriages, scientifically called spontaneous abortions, are common. If possible, for the pathology report to collect any tissue that comes out. Treat mom for shock, it's going to be a highly emotional issue. Never a good thing when you have a miscarriage. Tragic. Any questions? What do we do for a miscarriage? Provide O2, treat for shock, safe transport. We give emotional support. Don't be judgmental. Any questions? Always watch out for twins. Even if they tell you there's only one, be prepared for twins. There may be 1 or 2 placentas of twins. Why would that be? It's what? Very good. It's identical F2. It's identical. Very good. Woo. Can't pull the wool over your eyes. Almost like, yeah, it's almost like you've been here before. Delivering of an infant to an addicted mother, this also is common. Be prepared to give respiratory support to the babies. They're likely to be born CNS, central nervous system depressed, or what they call CNS depressed. Any questions? I can make some jokes about drug storage, but not a lot to it. Some people find that offensive. That's why I said it. I'm not going to make those jokes. Can't tell you. You have to watch Warner Brothers cartoons on Saturday mornings. Ah. So I can find the episode of that cartoon, I'll play it for you. The drunken stork that provides the wrong species of baby to the wrong species. Yeah, it's more like a kangaroo delivered to a mouse family. So Sylvester the cat thinks it's a giant mouse.
Yes.
So he keeps trying to teach his son how to fight the giant mouse and keeps getting his ass kicked. But then when you do have to do like fractured fairy tales, you try to combine the drunken stork cartoon with the addicted mother cartoon, it just doesn't work. So premature babies, this was a first-year college student they used to take these photos. There's nothing wrong with the baby on the right, they're just holding it farther away so it looks smaller. It's called perception. Perspective, thank you. I haven't taken photography since 1980, fall of 1984, so it's been a while. So anyway, the baby is less than 36 weeks, be prepared to give major support, especially the respiratory. And whatever you do, don't infect the infant. Any questions? That was the first thing I was planning on doing. All right, fetal demise. This is different than a miscarriage. This is when the baby goes full term and then goes into fetal distress and dies before it's born. It's very, very, very tragic. They're born with skin blisters, sloughing, dark discoloration, and they're obviously dead. So you don't use it here. Provide emotional support, medical support for mom. Yes.
What is sloughing?
I can't think of the name of the little doggies that have sloppy skin. It's when the skin is like there's nothing underneath it, so it's like bunched up like an accordion,
Oh,
Sharp head.
like a sharp bag. Thank you. It looks like a sharp bag, but not really. But that's what skin is like. Any questions? Deliveries without sterile supplies. Do your best. Boil water. I can guarantee you with the hundreds of thousands of people that are living on the Gaza Strip and in Gaza City, there are babies being born at home right now without sterile supplies. There ain't nobody moving anywhere. Matter of fact, one of our Desert Fire guys lives, I don't know how you pronounce it, Sedeort. Sanat. It's a city in Israel. And I actually contacted him yesterday. So what do you guys do? They said, we're not allowed to leave. We're lockdown. So unfortunately, it lives next door to the bomb shelters. When the area says about they just go next door. But nobody's allowed to go anywhere. You can't go to the store for supplies. You can't do anything. So if you go into labor, yeah, it closed everything. And help's not come. That's it. It help's not come. Not good. So anyway, that's the situation where this would apply. And so Sodor, where he lives, isn't even in Gaza. That's in Israel. They're shut down. All right, gynecological emergencies we already went over. That's a new baby. Now, on your Apgar, what do you see already on the Apgar that's a problem? Blue limbs. Does that baby look active? Not really. It's got a low Apgar. All right, so we're gonna go over some resuscitation stuff here. So you're called to the scene of a 23-year-old woman in labor. You're 12 minutes from a hospital. In or out, you're gonna pull out your cell phone, you're gonna go over your protocols. Chat to the labor patient. Because you don't do this every day. And you don't want to be looking at your cell phone or your protocols on scene. Hold on, ma'am. If this, do that. So things you want to know, is this your first baby? Do you feel the urge to push? And can I check for crowning? You want to see if delivery is imminent. If there is crowning, you're not going anywhere. Any questions? Yes.
why can't you transport them when they're crowning?
Because if they deliver, there's a good chance you're going to drop the baby on the floor as you're in the back of a room in the ambulance. Because they're wet and slippery. That's what crowning looks like. For those of you that were trying to imagine it, there's a full picture. Any questions? This is the head crowning. You want to know if you're having twins? What's the due date? And what color was the amniotic fluid? You want it to be clear. Any questions? If it's green or black, call the hospital immediately. There's all the things you should have in the obstetrical kit. Notice, as Connie said, there is no more crochet hook of doom. Any questions? Really dating myself for that. Prepare mother for delivery. Amazon could be arriving any minute. So check for crowding up crowding, put gentle pressure against the baby's head. When the head delivers, the first thing you check is for a nuchal cord. Nuchal cord is when the cord is wrapped around the neck. If it's wrapped around the neck twice, it's a double nuchal cord. Remember that, you may go home early tonight. So stimulate the baby, dry the baby, warm the baby, and give it to mom and do an Apgar. Any questions? Plant the cord, 7 and 11, cut. If the baby needs resuscitation, begin resuscitative efforts. Any questions? In this case, the baby is born limp and lifeless with no noted respiratory effort. What do you do now? No start CPR. Ventilation for 30 seconds. And then after 30 seconds, we reassess. If the heart rate's still below 60, then we start CPR. There's the inverted pyramid that you always do for all neonatal assessments. Granted, the tip of the inverted pyramid is not in your scope of practice, but everything right up to that is in your scope. Don't inhale energy drinks into your trachea. It's a really bad idea. Questions? I'll be okay. It's really uncomfortable. Falling apart piece by piece. And it's only Monday. Kind of. Today's day 21. It's only 4 more after day. 22, 23, 24, 25. Today's 22. 4 more days left. I have 2 days off. I come back for another week. I have 2 days off. I come back for another week. I have 2 days off. Then I'm going on vacation. 2 days off after doing 24 out of 26. It's gonna seem like a long week. Everybody hold that thought. Sure. Stand by. $17.02. $17.02 is what time. No problem, sir. But now let's move the phones over to Warren. Thank you for the switch this back to the all right, so we're gonna ventilate 40 to 60 times a minute. Heart rate has to be above 60. If it's not above 60, we start compressions. Any questions on compressions or anything else? Yes, sir.
You need 30 seconds straight.
After 30 seconds of ventilations.
Yeah.
If the heart rate is 60 or below, start compressions. 3-to-1 ratio at 120 beats a minute. So that's fast. 1, 2, 3, breath. 1, 2, 3, breath. 1, 2, 3, breath. 1, 2, 3, breath. Like that. Today is Monday, right?
30 seconds of breath. How often?
Every three breaths. So 1, 2, 3, breath. 1, 2, 3, breath. Right, you just do the breathing for 30 seconds.
How
40 to 60 breaths a minute. So a breath every other second at least.
Okay.
Or 40 breaths a minute. So breath almost 2 breaths a second. So it's pretty fast.
Yeah.
Breath, 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 breath. But it's just a little. The neonatal bag is only like that big, so it's real. It's not like a big squeeze bag like a BBM. You just go breath, 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 breath. Yeah. That one or that? Forward. And like 40 to 60 a minute. Or if you want to go 60 a breath every second, if it's easier for you. Yeah. 2.5. A little tiny sucker. More about that. All right, Conian babies. 1 out of every 10 about Conian baby. That's way too high of a number. There's a great picture of suction of Maconian baby right there. So how do we know they're in shock? They got colored limbs, weak pulses, and their apgar is low. What do we do about it? Easy. What's that? Yeah. Those are common in kids because their babies are so tiny. People can't hit them. Huh? Yeah. Good age. And of course, umbilical fetus, so you scope practice, paramedics, that's not your skill. Questions, so we just kind of right into the umbilical cord, swim captain right in. So again, mom, have her massage the fundus, nurse the baby. All those things will release pitocin and slow the bleeding. That doesn't work. Start large more IVs on her and give her fluid, which of course you can't do. You can get her to someone that can't. Any questions? Keep the baby warm. All right, let's do another one. You're dispatched to a woman in labor. What do we do first? All right, she's lying on the floor of a bank. You got one patient there. You have no additional resources. You do. You have a full team, sorry. Patient is alert already times 4. She looks very pregnant. That's her chief complaint. Her chief complaint is baby is coming. Any questions? What do we do? Older people's old numbers. Yeah, check the count.
Yeah, that's a really old
That's an
one.
old one. Yeah, before we have her, so used to love to go to Reddit, and I always go to having your way thing. Let's say I want to, it's long before anybody ever thought of Atkins, I want to double whopper with no bun. I tell them I want a large Coke, no cup. No, they just stare at you. And history taking, yeah, see, nowadays they just go, okay, nobody even hesitates, like, no, I really want to do that. All right, so she's got a signs and symptoms or abdominal pain with the urge to push. Got no allergies, only med for prenatal vitamins. And she's been pregnant for 40 weeks. What's that tell you? It is time. Yeah. Bella's gone off on the easy bake oven. All right, physical exam. Vital signs are fantastic. But she's crowning. So what do we do? Bro, get the OB kit out. We prepare for imminent delivery. That's what we say. Get out the OB kit, prepare for imminent delivery. Give her some privacy. Everybody stand with their backs away from her. Yes.
Would you just get that out and do it? Small kid.
Yeah. But you don't really necessarily have to rip it open though. When you see crowning, it's time to rip it open. Read the instructions. None of these work anymore. All right. What's that?
You said red text or red background.
Well, it was a really cool online software thing. It was like when American Idol was really big, and I let the students play American Idol with their cell phones and choose the answers. You gotta see how much the class knew the right answer. It's a really cool system, but I think they went bankrupt. It doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Really? I think Kahoot is the modern version. They may have bought that. They may have bought it. Yeah, somebody was telling me about Kahoot the other day or last semester. That last semester we did Kahoot? Was.
Yeah.
I much prefer it.
Oh, wait till you see my new invention. I came with all on my own. We're gonna be. No, it is. I tried to make a big Google form, but I failed. When we get all skills completely wrapped up, we're gonna start doing an academic decathlon. An academic decathlon. We've never done it before, but yeah, it's an idea.
It's just a lot of syllables.
Yes. That's a picture from a NICU. You do not want a baby to be in this position. That's a lot of tubes and wires. Yes.
Could you just explain what a couple of those things are?
I can explain to you what all of those things are.
What's around the calves?
Around the what?
The calves.
It's around the calves. Those are compression cuffs. That means the baby's been there or is going to be lying there for a long time. Those inflate, deflate, to stop blood clots from forming. So let's work our way up from there. Oh, that's a diaper. Then the big round patches you see with the red checkers on them, those are just standard EKG electrodes. The white probe there that's against the skin that's taped down, that is a tympanic thermometer. In the left wrist there, that is a peripheral IV, intermediate solution. And then the left shoulder clavicle area, that is a central line, which is they've gone straight into the subclavian central artery or vein. And they're measuring and giving medications through there. Then up to the head, the green thing you see there, which is making me very uncomfortable, which shows this kid's got a massive infection. That's a nasogastric tube that they have shoved up his nose or her nose and gone all the way, run it all the way down into her stomach. And what it's doing is it's suctioning contents out of the stomach of the baby. Then the tube you see coming out of the mouth, that is an endotracheal tube that's hooked to a ventilator. Is there anything I missed?
It's the white one going in right next to the nipple.
That is not going in, that is a temperature probe.
Oh.
Yeah, that's keeping a constant external body temperature. They're monitoring the internal body temperature through that central line. That's the external temperature. See how much heat they're losing. Probably because it's irritating, that probe taped to it. Probably also got some goo, like KY jelly there underneath it. Any questions? So if you ever go to a NICU, they're pretty plus place. NICU stands for neonatal intensive care unit. So for people under a month old, under 30 days old, that are in bad shape, this is where they go. NICUs are few and far between. The closest true NICU, Rogue Valley has a NICU, but it's not a true critical care NICU. The only true critical care NICUs that are close to, there's two in Sacramento. There's one in UC Davis and one in Sutter. Then after that, you got to go to Benefith, which is right down just past the AT&T Park, or the park. And then after that, it's Stanford. That's Benefith. It's UCSF. Yeah, they're still there. They're still there. Oh yeah. Take this class. But he was my bartender at Piedmont. I don't know who gave him the name, Josh Joe. But anyway, yeah, they're a Benefit, which is UCSF. So there's two, UCSF has got three major hospitals. So you have Benefit, this is a children's hospital. And then their major medical center for like all their transplants. So that's up on Twin Peaks, it's called Parnassus. It's on Parnassus Street. And then the level 1 trauma center is actually down in the Mission District on Mission Boulevard. It's called Mission Emergency San Francisco General. Actually, I think now it's called the Dingle Fritz that owns Facebook, because he gave like hundreds of millions of dollars to us. I think it's called Zuckerberg Medical Center now instead of San Francisco General. Yeah. Dingle Fritz Medical Center. Yeah, in fact, San Francisco General, when we get the ambulance operations, what? Yeah, I know. I wasn't kidding. You think I would lie to you guys about something?
Yeah. Yeah.
You thought I was kidding about Zuckerberg Medical Center. It was really called Dingle Fritz Medical Center. But San Francisco General, we get into ambulance operations, we're going to go over problems with homelessness and socioeconomic and abuse of the 911 system. And they actually have one of the greatest case histories of abuse of the 911 system is UC Davis and San Francisco General, or Dingle Fritz Medical Center, whatever they call it now. The level 1 trauma centers, they're constantly overwhelmed with patients because they are intentionally put in the worst neighborhoods because that's where the shootings and the stabbings happen. But there are literally so many people and so many ambulances coming in there. They used to have what were called gurney garages. And what you do is you go in, you did a triage nurse, they would triage it. This is 24 hours a day of triage. They triage in the field that got a low triage, got put in a gurney garage, which is a big room of gurneys, people just waiting to be seen. And the critical people got to go ahead of them. So a lot of the homeless people will use the 911 system for food and shelter. So a guy called 911 at a phone booth about a block from San Francisco General. So San Francisco Fire picked him up, brought him in, he got a low triage, they put him in the gurney garage, they left. He gets off the gurney, goes down, walks down the street, calls 911 at the phone booth. They go pick him up, take him, put him back in the gurney garage, gets off the gurney, walks down the street, calls 911. 26 911 activations in a 24-hour period.
Holy. One guy.
One guy.
Wow.
Yeah. Didn't want to be in the gurney garage. Just wanted food. Just wanted a sandwich. If someone had just come out and given him a sandwich, it just spared everybody a whole lot of time. All right, pediatric assessment. That's why a lot of hospitals, that's what they like, go, oh, they're enabling them by giving a sandwich. Like, no, it's easier just to give them a freaking sandwich, because otherwise you're gonna have to go through all these other things. It's just the fastest, easiest way to do it. So anyway, thoughts of the day. No matter what anyone else says, does, or thinks, always be the best person, the best professional you can be. Doesn't matter what they did. You don't control what they did. You control what you do and what you say. It's the only thing that you truly have control of is what you do and what you say. But bad things are going to happen. And if you're a human, you're going to make mistakes. What you do after those things happen and what you do after you make a mistake is going to determine how good or bad things work out. Any questions? If you choose good positive actions, I guarantee you will learn and move forward and not repeat mistakes. If you choose to blame others, equipment, or other things, you will have a pattern of making mistakes and a pattern of failure. I promise you. Any questions? All right, let's learn about sick kids. Sick kids are highly stressful. So a couple of things. We've taught you in this class, and I hope I'm 100% confident everybody in this room is on the same page with me, that you guys right now, if you were to walk out of here after class, even though none of you are certified as an EMT, and someone were to get run over by a car outside, I think you guys could probably assess and manage the situation pretty well. And I think you'd be pretty comfortable doing it. Wouldn't you? I think you guys are pretty solid. But kids, how much practice have we done on pediatric assessment? None. We're just getting started. And when you go to work as an EMT, you know, if you're in a busy system, you're going to run a dozen calls to 18 calls a shift on adults. I mean, it's going to be. And even if you're in slower areas like up here, you're still going to get about 3 calls in a 24-hour shift that are adults. But kids, there's not enough practice. Unless you're working in a NICU like in Sacramento, where you've got 40 isolates of sick kids, and that's all you do every day of the week. Somebody's really blowing up my phone. You're not proficient at it. So that's why kid calls are stressful. And that's why it's really important that you educate and practice as much as you can, because you're not going to be proficient at it. It's physically impossible. Like, again, unless you're working in NICU. Matter of fact, when we get sick kids up here that are critically sick, even the helicopter flight nurses and medics, they're just not proficient. So what they generally do is they'll fly to UC Davis, they'll fly to Benefit, and they'll grab a NICU nurse and an isolate, put it in the helicopter, they'll fly up here. Someone that does it every single day. Because nobody else is that. They're just not proficient enough to do it. Any questions about that? So it's okay to be nervous and be, you know, stressed about kids, because everybody is. All right. So take notes of your surroundings. Do a scene assessment and a scene size up. Oh, it's the same ex-wife. She's making memes of it. These are pretty good too. Oh my, these are good. You might kill it. I'm kind of scared to post those. I was going to, but those might be a little too good. That makes a lot. So seed assessment will supplement additional findings. So things you want to know is position of the paper and condition of the home. And we're going to teach you all of the flags for child abuse, which is a really, really uncomfortable class. So your best friend, when you got a sick kid, if your best friend's name is Pat. Now that's a transgender name. It could be a he or a she. Pat works both ways, you know. So yeah, you know, you can. It's whatever works for you. Your old buddy Pat always should come along with you, because Pat is a pediatric assessment triangle. So the first thing you want to do when you walk in, you look at a kid, you got to be thinking about that. You want to know what their appearance is. Do they look like they're dead? They look like they're alert and awake and upset. How is their work of breathing and what is the circulation of their skin? And I'm going to give you some endless examples of this. Now, this may be the only good picture that publishers ever come up with. It's actually a correct airway positioning of a child. Always, always in a compromised child, an altered, unresponsive, pad behind the shoulders to get the airway in the correct position. Any questions? I believe it's now 6 and 60. I think I looked that up today. 6 years old, they're under 6 years old or under 60 pounds. They need to be in a child restraint device. Gurney straps will not be adequate. We use a PD mate. The PD mate strapped to the gurney, and they're like little car seats. Then you just strap them into that. Then it straps to the gurney. No, you can't secure them to the bench seat unless they're in the car seat. If they got their car seat, a lot of times they have their car seat. I'll put them in their car seat and strap it into the airway seat.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, in my ambulance, the back of the airway seat comes down and it's a 5-foot car
Same
seat.
in ours, it opens
Yeah.
up and there's a child seat built into it.
Lifeline?
I think that's the brand.
Yeah, Lifeline's really good about that.
It's a nice seat.
Any questions? But we also have PD mates too, so I can take 2 kids. I can put one in the airway seat and one on the gurney of the PD mate. But yeah, a lot of times they have their car seat, let's put them in their own car seat.
Hook up to that way.
And it's better restraint. You should be familiar with the damn vitals. What's that? No, I don't remember. Yeah, I pull up my cell phone and go to the SSV app. Or I go, hey Google, what is the average vital signs for a 2-year-old? Hey Google, what are the average vital signs for a 2-year-old?
Here is information from HealthLink BC.
There you go. I'm a dinosaur, but I can act.
What happens when you don't have internet anywhere? So.
Give you directions.
back to
And then-
Katie's question.
And then the light will shine through the trees and I'll see the vital signs on a rock.
So back to Katie's question, do you have a tip on helping you remember these?
No.
Because you can't just call up Google.
No, I don't. I generally through experience, no. So a couple rules of thumb. A very general rule of thumb is once they get above about 3 years old, systolic blood pressure should be 100 plus their age. Good rule of thumb. Anyone under 3 years old, blood pressure really doesn't matter. Heart rates, anything over 160, 180 is going to be a problem. Infants may be over 180, but still not good. Anything over 160 is really bad. Anything under 80 to 90 is not good in the kid. Kids should never be bradycardic. It's usually a respiratory problem. Respirations over 30 still are very bad no matter what their age. Other tool that I have that I strongly recommend everybody have the ages they're working for is every ambulance I work on has a Braslo kit. And Braslo is a brand. And years ago, even when I first started, they existed. They had what's called a Braslo tape. We used to always have Braslo tapes with us. And so the Braslo is good. You're not going to get to use a test. But you measure the kid with the Brazil tape based on the length of the kid. It gives you an approximation of what their vital signs should be, what medications you should use, the size, the amount of the medications, the size of the equipment. And then they've taken a step further. We have the ambulances for every category of the Braslo, they put a color. So then the Braslo kit, you grab that color kit, and everything's already pre-sized for that child. Free dosed. So that way we don't gotta go, oh, they're 25 kilograms, and you just open up the color of the kit that they measured them to, and you got everything right there.
Sorry, Brian, I think you just said that any respirations over 30 is common.
Probably, yeah. Let's say otherwise there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, little kids. I'm sorry. Yeah. And babies, not so bad. But anyone that's over 1 or 2 years old. That's right over 30 is not good.
In the book, it says for ages 1 to 10, a useful tip for the systolic blood pressure is 70 plus 2 times
70 plus 2x.
what's my rate? How by shooting that stuff?
I like it. And now our crews are sending me videos. Oh my God. Somebody took out a fire hydrant with a lot of pressure. It looks like downtown Wairika, right by the Valero.
Sounds like a fire hydrant.
Yeah, they're going by on the freeway.
Which Valero, the one next to the hospital?
By the hospital. Hold on 1 second here. East is even. All right. What? One thing I love about Dunsmere, you can tell where anything's at if you know the rules. East is always, you're going north and south, east is always even. If you're going east to west, south is always even. Okay, even's always on the left, odd's always on the right. Starts at 4,100 at the north, it ends at 6,900 in the south. It is gridded out perfectly. Starts at 4,100 on the far east and ends at about 44 to 4,500 on the far west. So I get a call at 4,300 something that's east-west street. I know it's on the far west end. It's 3 blocks from where it started. Now you could not ask for a better numbering system. Shasta, they let everybody pick their own numbers. Hey, I think the 1028. Yeah, like my office is 1020, so you'd think that 1022 would be next door. No, 1022 is down 3 doors on the other side of the street. Because we all pick our own numbers. Yes. Yeah, Dunster's on the grid system. It's in Sacramento's even easier too. It's A, B, C, and then the opposite direction. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's perfect. Shasta and Weed are disasters. And McLeod. No, McLeod's even worse because everything McLeod's a PO box, so nobody knows their address. Any questions? Pulse, always. Anyone under about 3 or 4, always check the pulse of the brachial artery. Any questions? Blood pressure. Really doesn't mean much if they're under 3 years old. The capillary refill time is huge. Capillary refill time, if it's over 2 seconds, the sign of a compensated shock in kids. That's the #1 telltale of how you tell the kids a compensated shock. Because they're always tachycardic, they're always anxious, they always have elevated respirations. Any questions? Kids changing kids frequently, so you constantly have to reassess. Always bring your friend Pat with you when you're assessing children. All right, pediatric airways are terrifying. They're anterior, they're tiny, they're soft. They have giant tongues waiting to occlude them, and a big old alien head that will also occlude. Any questions? What is that?
That's a great.
No, it's not a brachial artery, it's a tree. Do you know the cool thing about trees are? It's trees are exactly the same as your bronchial system. You have bronchus, not brachial, right?
That's right.
So the trunk of the tree breaks off into a left and a right main stem bronchus, which are your major trunks, your trunk split. Then it divides into your large branches, which are your bronchioles. Then down to tiny branches, which are bronchioli. Then down to leaves, which exchange carbon dioxide for oxygen, just like alveoli. It's exactly the same thing. Pretty cool, huh? We got that from Dr. Morse. Funny guy, but really had some really cool stuff. So if you look at it like that, the tree is really no different than a respiratory system. It just goes the opposite direction, does the opposite gas exchange. Kind of cool. At least I thought so. There's different diseases that can go with it. Kids, this is really important to remember. You know. Y'all got any questions? So, 1 out of 5 kids that don't die from trauma die from medical. 4 out of 5 from respiratory complications. Kids that are bradycardic are dying of respiration. You need to aggressively go after their airway and ventilation. Kids that are bradycardic going into respiratory failure, and that's what kills them. You need to aggressively manage their airway and ventilation. Kids that are bradycardic are dying from respiratory failure. You need to aggressively manage their airway and their ventilation. There will be test questions. Questions about pediatric airways. This is scary stuff. So there's nothing anatomically similar about an adult airway than a pediatric airway. The glottis is higher. It's also more anterior. It's soft. There's this giant tongue just waiting to obstruct it. They have Fuseli's law, which a lot of the tests. Fuseli's law, which is French for increased resistance. I think it's by a French time. It's not really French. I mean, it is, but that's not. Yeah. Increased resistance to airflow. Nerves that can't suck air in and out as well as you and I can, because they don't have rigid hard or kind of like drafting water with a soft suction hose. That make more sense? They don't have that rigid cartilage to move the air, the pneumatics back and forth. Think about trying to suck a cola out of a soft straw. Yeah, yeah. This is when they get soggy. Yeah, so increased resistance to airflow. Your thorax is more compliant. It's not rigid, soft and squishy. Tracheal rings have calcified. That's why they can't get the airway pressure to cough out goop and gook. They have a little less prominent jaws. Jokes about that, but I'm not going to. They're mostly nasopharyngeal brothers. They have underdeveloped nasal bones, so again, they can't get that air resistance flowing. And they got these big, large alien heads. Take me to your lead. Questions? Because their nasopharynx is so big. I mean, their head's big, their nasopharynx is big, and that's their bigger airway. As long as it's not clogged with snot, it's where they prefer to breathe from. It's a natural thing. Any questions? And the other kids will pick on them if they become mouth breathers. That's a great picture. It shows how their giant alien heads will shut off their little anterior soft airways. Another great picture. So if adults passed out, lying flat on their back, it's not good. Their airway is not perfect, but it's at least manageable. A kid's airway, does that look manageable? No. Air doesn't move that way. So major differences in how you position an adult versus a child for airway management. Any questions? So how do we know if a child's in respiratory distress? Well, they're going to breathe faster. They're going to be anxious. You'll probably hear some noises like wheezes or stridor. They'll actually see the retractions to their diaphragm's working so hard, it'll actually cave in that pliable chest. You'll see the chest recoiling back and forth as they're trying to rapidly breathe. And you'll see a seesaw belly breathing. You'll actually watch retractions going with the abdomen. Nasal flaring, they'll look like an angry bull. Their nasals are sitting there trying to just get that air moving through. They're old enough, they'll tripod like an offensive lineman. And then when they start to truly get hypoxic and they're going into respiratory failure, you'll see torpor, which is when they start to completely blank out and they get real smooth muscle relaxes, they get lethargic. Pretty much death is right after that. Any questions? All right. Thank you, Charlie, for modeling for us to show what the kids look like. See those retractions on his chest? Look how hard his diaphragms work.
Hi, baby.
Moisture detector. Just kidding.
Hi, baby. Yeah. Hi. Hi, Charlie. Hi, baby. Hi.
Charlie.
All righty then.
Good sternal retractions too. There you go. Look at that sternal collapsing. Any questions? All right. So once kids are able to get stuff to put in their mouth, they're very curious. They want to taste it. So foreign body aspiration is a common thing. They like to put buttons, beads, batteries, coins, food, anything they can put in their mouth, they're going to try it. Any questions? What's that?
Golf ball.
Like a dime. It's in the esophagus. So they go, oh, it's in the esophagus. That's no big deal. Well, first of all, it's really uncomfortable. What's the other problem? Juan Carlos.
No, I was just saying that is that picture looking from behind?
I believe from front, it's looking down. They're holding it down, and someone's holding his head still. It's an anterior. You can see the front of the skull there. So the problem is that the airways are soft still. So you can put pressure from the esophagus on the airways. You restrict the airway stiff. Not to mention, it's extremely uncomfortable being in the esophagus. So what do? That's one of my favorites. That happened while I was doing my clinical time in Reading. A kid had a, actually that's not the same one, I'm sorry. That's a popcorn kernel. He inhaled. I had a kid that had a blow dart. He put the dart inside the gun and he inhaled instead of blowing. And he blew it all the way down. He inhaled it into his left main stem bronchus. You can see the feathers on the x-ray and everything.
Oh.
Yeah, so these require ear, nose, pediatric ear, nose, and throat surgeon. They got to go down with the bronchoscopy, which is a fiber optic camera. You can grab it, pull it out. All right, URIs. You're going to hear URI for the rest of your career. Upper respiratory infection. You have to know what that means. They happen every year. We are just now entering the URI season. The end of the season, the old king, perennial champion, the flu will probably take over as the winner again. But COVID's trying to make a major comeback, and now RSV is pulled up, and it's making incredible showing. All URIs. Any questions? And don't forget about the common cold, which is also corona. Any questions? Epiglottitis. It's a very big epiglottis, swollen and abscess. And they got some swollen tonsils there on the left and right. Any questions? All right, here's a very brave ear, nose, throat surgeon. I believe this was on an adult. Went in to try to intubate a epiglottitis. To see what kids are drooling, they can't even swallow the saliva. That's almost a complete airway closure of the epiglottis. It's supposed to be a big, nice opening going down the lungs and the stomach. I was hoping to inject some epinephrine in there so you could watch it shrink. So, do not try to put airways in these kids if they suspect epiglottitis. Last thing you want to do is aggravate that big swollen abscess and that completely shut the airway off. Let them sit forward. Get to the hospital. Any questions? Yeah. Epinephrine is a massive vasoconstrictor, so it constricts the vessels, the abscess, and shrinks the abscess. So you can get air flowing in. Yes. No, don't do any, no MPA, no OPA. You want to take no chance of aggravating that abscess. Open up, little guy. No. So the most common patients that get epiglottitis are little tykes between the ages of 2 and 4. They have a fever. They look toxic. They drool. Respiratory distress. Stridor. They have retractions. They tripod. Heard after last night, the Cowboys are looking for some kids with epiglottitis to do a better job of protecting Zach Prescott. Well, they were double teaming Bosa, so everybody else is getting through too. Bosa's only had 2 sacks all year because he's double and triple teamed everywhere he goes, but that opens everybody else up. Fred Warner. Look at that, 2 pictures tonight of that proper airway management. We're on a roll. Excuse me. Any questions? So, if you're putting a king airway in, not a king, an IGL in, you need to check for a gag reflex first. An OPA. Not using some kids with epiglottitis. Any questions? If the little tyke is faking it, it won't be after using MPA. Any questions? Yeah, go ahead and do it. See what he does. Any questions? Assisting ventilation is difficult. 2-person BVM is recommended, but it is critical in kids that are bradycardic and altered. Yeah, be aggressive. Any questions? Any questions on nasal cannulas and non-breathers? Remember, aggressive airway and oxygenation in kids. Respiratory is what kills kids in medical conditions. Trauma is the #1 killer of kids, but respiratory is the #1 killer of medical. 80%, 4 out of every 5 kids die from respiratory. Aggressive airway and aggressive oxygenation. Make sure you have the right size BVM and the right size mass. Questions? Things that obstruct the airway: croup, seal bark, right over the seal bark cough. Not uncommon to come to the room and find the child
spitting a beach ball in their nose.
Bronchitis, set for drooling, fever. Or body area obstructions, unfortunately, are not funny and often fatal. Food, rocks, coins, beads, Legos.
They ate a marble once.
Did you pass it?
Yeah.
Good job. Did you keep it?
My mom did for a while.
That's hilarious. You should have saved it for your wedding. Yeah, look what he did when he was a child. Any questions about airway obstruction for the child? Hot dogs, grapes, nuts. Bad. Almost impossible to clear the airway. Any questions? So, what I want you guys to do is I know it's funny, but it's not funny at the same time. Look at the terror in this child's eyes. Look how tired he is, because he is getting tired of struggling to breathe. This is a kid that inhaled a air horn trumpet. So every time he exhales, it blows the trumpet. What's a horn? Yeah. But look at his eyes. He's so tired and he's so terrified. Oh, the other video said volume, right?
Yeah.
What's going on here? I think it's on YouTube. Now you gotta hear this video. Video is completely useless without sound. He does. What's that? Learning there aggressively. Never been an issue before. It's terrifying. The size of that thing. Well, it was a lot better when it had sound. Ooh, I was like it. Oh, yeah, there we go. I am logged in. I don't know. All right, so what do we do if a kid is unconscious with a foreign body obstruction? Put on a flat surface, we do chest compressions. So we pop out, we're trying to get as much air force inside the lungs to try to pop it out like a champagne cork. Makes sense? Kind of like a pneumatic piston. Like it's too many people are laughing at it. Not nearly as fun to watch that sound. Because every time you sell kids probably have a complex now. I've had 13 million views on Instagram. See, that's wrong. That is not funny. Wow. Yeah, people are cruel. That kid looks terrified. If you now that you when you see how large that soccer ball is inside his throat, you can understand why it was terrified. He'd probably been that way all the way to the hospital. So he's probably getting pretty freaking tired of going. Any questions? If they're still conscious, you can still do a Heimlich on them. I'm confident I can stage better pictures. Yeah, I don't know about the photographers. I don't think they spend a whole lot of money on the photographers. Hey, this is a real photographer. What he did is he tricked the kid into not breathing well. Kid in slave playing insulin, his respiration down, so he got a little dusky and blue, and then took the picture. Any questions? Look a lot more real. That kid looks way too healthy to be jealous. Absolutely. Not do abdominal thrusts, do chest compressions. They found out it works way better for increasing air resistance inside the airways. Straight down the chest like a piston. Any questions? Basically, go without the ventilations. You're trying to go fast, hard. Once you're trying to create as much air pressure as you can to try to pop out the obstruction like a champagne cork. Trying to make it like a pneumatic piston. Any questions? So remember, position the airway, dry the child, warming, suctioning, tactile stimulation. That's not spanking them. It's tactile on their feet, angering them, annoying them, want to make them cry. One of the few things in life I've been good at, making children cry. Any question? Question? I have videos of that also. Any question about the compression ratios? For no pulse or pulse below 60. Yes. Cardiac arrest in kids is almost always due to respiratory arrest. Very few children have cardiac disease. Any questions? Very few of them have cardiac disease, but most of them have soft, little tiny forward airways, which are a big problem. Any questions? So number one airway obstruction is kid is that big giant tongue in their alien head. Attempt to get them in a better airway position. At first, they've never tried a jaw thrust on a child, and I don't know how effective that would be. They got low, have prominent jaws, and their TMJs just don't. I've never tried it. I just don't see how it'd be effective, personally. And setting a select maneuver, they don't have that rigid cartilage to do a select maneuver. And they have it, all right, but they don't. They're just crushing the airway. Any questions? Any questions about doing compressions? Yes, sir.
It's not about pressures, but it's back to the. So this test question. It says an OPA airway should not be used on children, but just costly.
Correct. Well, two things. You don't want to vomit. You don't want to aggravate system burns in the airways. If they vomit, that's going to burn again, and you're getting a chance of aspirating that vomit in their bronchioles and then burn the bronchioles too.
So what would?
Yes. You gotta like.
No.
2 hours.
Okay, is that because the plastic had foods?
No, you don't want them to have a chance of getting vomit. Any questions? Any questions on CPR? Boy, look how sick he looks. Isn't that the same kid as before? Man, this kid just keeps getting sicker and sicker. I'm thinking this person, all you ever see is the hands munchkin by proxy. Which is a disease that was discovered right after a Wizard of Oz. Munchkin by proxy.
Yellow brick road itis.
No, yellow brick road is the spastic cure. It's the man behind the curtain. AEDs should be used on children over 8. If they're too small for the AED pads to fit, go front, back. Any questions? It'll depend on your locale protocols. Any questions?
No AED on. Is there like a specific type of AED or which is not?
Just none that I know of. Shouldn't have the fit at that edge. That from the wonders. Yes,
What are our local protocols?
I think it's under 8.
Under 8?
Is it? Yeah. I'll have to go back and look, I'll be honest with you. Fortunately, I haven't run a pediatric CPR prior, so I've never seen a pediatric kid be fit. So is it pulse electrical activity or is this the platform? Questions? This is different etiology. They don't die from that. They die from respiratory complications. The majority of ones I've done are groundings. Highly unfortunate. See? Yeah. Any questions? All right, let's start on trauma. Not much to add there. A papoose board. We guys showed you the papoose board. It's a good. Oh, yeah, it's what you got.
classification, they never.
Yes. They have them there for a reason. That's my preferred method right there. Huh? The kid looks like they're in distress. I can translate and say, you mean a witch? Oh, they really got that kid aggravated. Don't use a short board to take a child out of a freaking car seat. Mobilize them in the car seat. Don't do that. My God. No. Any questions?
Really curious, the question says the short board.
Yeah, it does. Look it up.
I guarantee you, you're not gonna be able to find a short board in this county. I believe we've burned every last one. You might find something down at Happy Camp or find the river. Pretty sad, that's not in this county.
We definitely have one.
You have a short board?
I didn't know what it was used for. I just figured.
You guys water the horses after you get the ambulance back in the
It
quarters?
feels like that sometimes, yes.
So you,
Yeah, I've had them inside their car seat, yeah. Dave, man, that's the best way to do it. Shortboard, I have not seen shortboard since the
Should I bring
80s.
it in tomorrow?
Yeah, no,
Or relative yesteryear?
shortboard.
Yeah.
Do you have a build-a-board?
I have to look upstairs, but I would almost say yes.
I'll bet
We
you have a
have not
build-a-board.
thrown away anything since the 50s. So it's all upstairs. It's like a museum up there. But I'll wear my cool yellow hat upstairs tomorrow.
Did John Lord?
Huh?
Did John Lord? He'd probably take all that off your hands. He said he started a museum with the Reading.
Good luck.
SUV.
My chief is busting out.
You guys should start a museum to make money.
Which order do I order?
You should start a museum to make money.
That's what Weaverville did. Full on museum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of was in the center here. This is for display.
I have my brother's CMT 2 box from 1970s and nothing's been touched since like 1979. And it's cool as hell, sitting in my office.
Oh, it's not very exciting.
He may have worked on that. But anyway, shock, the biggest indicator is going to be increased capillary refill time. Well, over 2 seconds, however you want to look at it. Decreased capillary fill time, I guess. I would say, part of me says increase because it takes longer to refill. It's increased, but. So is Bingo the farmer or the dog? I can't get past that. All right. Oh, now you know where I got the 1.6. Before I said the slide was close. That's where I got that from, for sure. I've looked at it for 40 straight semesters. Any questions? All right. Make sure if you're treating a child, you have a good backdrop on a stage, urban floor, stage curtain. Any questions? Keep them warm. Seizures. So seizures are extremely dangerous in children because when you first start your post-ictal state, you can't manage your. And kids have those giant alien heads, those giant tongues. So when they stop seizing, Very easy for Johnny to die from swallowing his tongue, as they used to say. The little guy swallowed his tongue. Had a seizure, swallowed his tongue, and died. Funeral's on Tuesday. Also, what he had to do is open his freaking airway. So yes, as soon as the kid gets done seizing. Any questions? Febrile seizures are common in small children, has nothing to do with epilepsy, there's no indication in the future of epilepsy. It generally breaks the B seizure, it does not last that long, but it will terrify anyone that sees it. The seizures are terrifying to watch in all ages, but especially in children. Questions? Halloween, the scariest movies always goes to kids. Way more scary than kids. When I die, it comes back as a ghost child. Gauge with the scowl. That's it. So after we secure their airway in the recovery position, ready to section and below the IO2. Any questions? Any questions? Dehydration. Common in children, when they get sick, they get dehydrated themselves in literally 12 hours. I've seen it. They're sitting there real bad gastroenteritis, and literally just open up their rectum like a faucet, pour all the fluid out. So, any questions? How many wet diapers they have? They haven't had a wet diaper today. It's really bad. They haven't had their fontanelle shields. They got fused. They got a dent in their forehead. It's pretty significant dehydration. They're not taking in fluids. They're not peeing. It's not good. Any questions? Get these kids to a hospital, ALS intercept on the way if you have time. They need fluid. Two more minutes, we're gonna go to break. Guys, I'm so thrilled. Who's your friend for a 3-year-old seizure? Pat. Yes. Pat says, airways open and clear, breathing's regular, skin looks good. So if you have one of the three categories, one of the three sides of the triangle positive, you've got a sick kid. 2 of the 3 have a life-threatening illness. 3 out of 3, you're in big trouble. Put a break. Be back at 8 o'clock. Be back at 8:05. Yeah, it's a longer. Actually, I think it's really good. Not sure. Not very good. I can see it on tap everywhere I go. 8:05. No, 8:05. Thanks for. Good surprise tonight.
Yeah, that's not easy.
Good quality, go faithful one right there. I like to put that one in the same category as ALL and.
I don't know if the rate can.
My buddy in Mendo always had it.
You sure?
Always.
I grew up going to the brewery.
So they've got a new app. This is the own app from the an actual app.
my friend's art gallery.
I think this is a month.
Yeah, he does really, really well with that. He goes paints in the mountains and then goes down there and sells. Yeah, I went down there, in,
We're at.
May. I went down there for
Oh,
a
God.
vocal concert. Well, down in Oakland, stayed in Galesburg.
Yeah.
Like
That's gonna be fatal.
Free place to stay with really awesome people.
That's right at the
House
airport.
on a vineyard. It's really good. Like,
Yeah, got it right here.
it's really bougie, like you said.
Is your aortic arch is right here? Then your descending aorta comes down right here. You're down the aorta.
Elephant in the room.
Yeah. Dangerous could be when it looks like it's more aorta, the way that the amount of blood that's coming out, it's even as the aorta. Yeah.
Okay. Elephant in the room. Nice.
Right on, don't forget.
Yeah, dude, thanks for that. I'm gonna-
I like that stuff.
That's one was the guy within the first 5
All right,
minutes.
cool, thanks.
Unpreventable death. Oh, yeah. And they're gonna kill one for every bond dropped. What do you do? What are you gonna do?